Hey everyone, and welcome to the Here Be Dragons special social isolation stream number one. We'll probably do more than one of these depending on how long all this goes on, but thanks for joining us. It's great to have everyone here. I'm joined by John today. John, you guys all
Hey
know
guys.
John, but I do have a super secret guest, somebody who I've known for a long time. Somebody that I've shared a lot of nerdy conversations with over the years. This is my oldest daughter, Elora Moon Stark. You could just call her Elora. She is, in fact, named for the baby princess from the movie Willow. So, we'll discuss that at length when we do our review of Willow. But thanks for coming, everyone. And there is no topic to be had, so we're going to rely on the chat to keep us to give us something to talk about other than, Elora, why don't you say hi to everybody and talk a little bit about your nerdy side, and then we'll just see where the conversation takes us.
All right, well, hi, I'm Elora. Like Steven said, I'm his oldest daughter. My dad had a lot to do with developing my nerdy side, so thank God for that. It started a lot with, just simple video games and movies, and I've grown into having my own interests. I enjoy just about everything. I call myself a super nerd. It's everything between D&D, Magic the Gathering, anime, video games. I love it all.
Right on. Okay, so Elora, what is your biggest fandom?
Oh God, that's a hard one to pick. But I have to say, if it's the thing I probably focus most on, is probably anime. I watch a lot of animes, good, the bad, and definitely the ugly.
Right on. You watch a lot more anime than I do, although, I am always going to treasure the memory of us watching Avatar: The Last Airbender together. Which, is it an anime? Is it not an anime? We're not going to be. I guess we could have that conversation, but I loved watching that show with you.
I did too, and the other thing that we watched a lot together was, things like Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And Full Metal Alchemist was another one that we watched together.
Yep.
Firefly, which I don't remember a whole lot of Firefly because I was so young when we watched it. But things like that hold the very special place in my heart.
Right on. We did Firefly stream not that long ago.
Yeah, I remember I was supposed to be a part of that, but we had a lot going on at that time.
I wore your hat for a little while. Not long. It's too small for me. That's why.
Oh, I've got a small head.
You do. You are a petite young woman.
I'm 5 feet tall, even.
Right. How you got so short, I don't know.
I don't know, because everyone else is 5'5" and taller, and about 100 more pounds than I weigh. So.
Yeah. You are a very petite lady. So, Elora, John, anything on your mind you'd like to bring up before we throw it to the chat and see what they want to talk about?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you go.
No, I guess I should probably just mention some people know I've been not feeling too great lately. At first I thought I had some kind of cold, that I might have the virus, but turns out that I was suffering from a tooth infection. So it was making me feel like I had a fever, even though I didn't have a temperature. And I was in a lot of pain, unfortunately, I was kind of struggling through the last couple streams I did, but I'm feeling better today. I'm finally going to the dentist to have an operation tomorrow that'll take care of the whole thing. But I'm feeling much better today than usual, so I'm really happy to be on. And this is going to be a lot of fun.
Right on. There's a lot of great people already showing up in the chat, so let's just say hi to the folks. Lots of regulars already showing up. I see Sean, aka Ridiculous Ed Tollett, #1 patron in the land. You know we love you, buddy. Anna Iglesias, just Britvec, just stopping by quick during your lunch break, but I'm really glad you stopped by to say hi. I see Vanessa Amesti. Hola, amiga. ¿Cómo estás? Peter Griffin, the one, the only Peter Griffin, is here in our stream. Phil H., Violent Messiah. How you doing, Violent? I see Melina Ojdenik. Pozdrav, Melina. Florista the Fox has been in here asking all the best kind of like would you rather questions, which she loves. I don't know how to change names is in the chat. So it's great to see everyone. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Giggity indeed. So, John, I'm glad that you are going to be able to get into the dentist tomorrow, too.
Yeah, I was worried about that because everything's now emergency only, it seems like. And I was able to thankfully persuade them that mine still constitutes an emergency, even though I'm not in as much pain. But it's a situation that definitely needs to be taken care of. So I'm glad I'm getting in tomorrow and this whole thing can be behind me. And then I can focus on just hunkering down at home while we go through this whole thing.
Right on. So, yeah. Chat, if you want to bring up anything, let me know. We'll be happy to talk about whatever. But other than that, Elora, you're the guest here, like the guest. So, what do you want to talk about?
I mean, I'm prepared to talk about anything pretty much. I know that we had talked about deep dives on characters before.
Yep, we did. We talked about, especially for Avatar. Speaking of Avatar, John, have you watched any more of
I haven't. I'm so sorry because I want to finish it because I felt like it was really starting to get good, and I was enjoying the first few episodes, and you keep telling me that it gets even better after that. So I want to, but it feels like I am so behind on so many shows I'm watching.
Yeah,
it definitely gets a lot better after the first book, Water. In my personal opinion, I felt like it was very, very slow, but it takes a lot of different turns in season 2, and there's a lot of character development for a lot of the main characters and even some of the sub-main characters. Very enjoyable for me.
Right on.
Yeah, I went through and I actually bought the Blu-ray set, so I have it sitting on my shelf, so it's just waiting.
Perfect time for quarantine.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I know, John, when we sort of have things we have to watch every week, like that, the watching stuff for pleasure, there's just so much less time for it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that I feel like binge watching and DVRs and streaming and all that, it's made my habits all the worse because I know that stuff is there waiting for me. So I allow myself to fall behind. I've got shows that I, used to always make sure that I watched the night of. I mean, I'm behind on shows like Better Call Saul and The Walking Dead. And I haven't watched The Blacklist in a couple of years, even though I was super into that show. And it's funny because I've got them all stored up, like on the DVR, waiting to watch. And I want to watch them, but it just now that I'm doing this as much, I don't want it to sound like I'm not enjoying the heck out of, doing our discussions, but it has made it more difficult to catch up on stuff.
It demands time and attention. And which is time that's got to come from somewhere else. And honestly, that usually ends up being the stuff I watch for fun.
Yeah.
I personally would recommend watching Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh, I watched that too.
Oh, it was a completely different take on the show. And I loved it exponentially better because I watched season 1 through season 8 of The Walking Dead. And I got a lot more I had a lot more heart into Fear the Walking Dead just because it was more of the psychological breakdown of humanity, which was not something you really saw when, it was already out and about.
Well, I have to admit that I wasn't that much of a fan of the first 2 seasons. I'd say I just didn't feel as drawn in by the characters as on the original show, which is what keeps me coming back to that one every week. But I have to say, I quite enjoyed season 3. I thought they made some big strides, and then I've really loved what they've done with the show since then. I love the new characters that they've brought in, and I just feel like they've worked to it's still different, but they've made it feel more like it's within the Walking Dead universe.
Right.
So.
But the thing I really did like, and this is not a popular opinion, but I did really like Negan as the bad guy in Walking Dead.
And again, keep in mind that I'm actually behind on the show right now, so I've missed, I want to say, the last I'm up to like a few episodes into the first half of this season, and I'm sadly behind on the rest, so I don't know what they've done with him since then. But yeah, I mean, I thought he was great as a villain, but I'm open to what they've been doing with him. I think right now he's probably the best thing about the show.
I completely agreed with what I had seen. Because he was a very, very different version of a bad guy. And it kind of opens up your eyes to the idea of a villain. There are very few real, just bad people doing bad things. A lot of the time it is people with good intentions going about things the wrong way. Which is something that you've always got to consider in almost anything you watch. I mean, there are, some people who act inappropriately and are just doing stuff to be giant buttholes. But there are a lot of people who are just trying to do something to, save their planet. Like Thanos. Thanos' planet had been, overrun and overpopulated, that a lot of his species died. And he wanted to save the universe. He wanted to prevent what happened to him with what happened to everyone else.
A Thanos apologist? Really?
Hey, I can be empathetical.
Okay, I understand that. I can remove you from the stream just like this.
I think Thanos thinks he's doing a good thing.
Well, and most villains do. They think they're doing the right thing, but they're really not.
Yeah. That actually goes back to one of my favorite Marvel characters, and this was a concept that I was, sort of grappling with even when I was a young kid watching the animated series. Magneto, he very much sees himself, as doing the right thing, and it always made him a very intriguing villain for me when I was a kid. So yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So y'all talked about The Walking Dead, which I didn't watch. It was never for me. I've never been.
I didn't watch it for years and years. I actually didn't start watching until they were in between seasons. I think it was 6 and 7, which is hilarious because that's when longtime fans started to tune out. And I binged like the entire show up till that point, and so that's when I started to get into it. And I know, there were some people in our group chat that were taking me to task for my opinion on The Walking Dead, but I've enjoyed it the past couple seasons. I don't know, it's just one of those weird things. I've been into it, but yeah. But I was a latecomer.
Also, Elora, say hello to your grandmother.
Hi, Betsy. I saw you on the chat.
Yeah.
I miss all y'all. I wish I could come up, but between virus and money.
Nobody can travel. Look, I don't want you to come here. That's my elderly mother I don't want you bringing your germs up in my house.
Oh, I'm gonna bring all of the germs.
Yeah, maybe later.
I'm gonna roll in a giant bowl of Corona and come over.
The beer?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, Beth. I guess that this is my daughter, Elora, my oldest, and probably of them all, the nerdiest as well. Probably. I don't know. Lorian has her nerdy elements for sure, but I digress. So, yeah. What's next? What's the next topic of conversation? Elora, you haven't watched The Expanse yet, have you?
I have not.
Yeah.
I don't have Amazon Prime right now.
Well,
Why aren't you sharing that password, Steven?
it's not mine. I'm borrowing mine from someone else. Moni loves your pants, Elora. Can we get a better look at them, maybe?
Oh, absolutely.
Here, I'm gonna
Hold on.
Okay, they're just black and white vertical stripes, but they do look cool. Oh, are they bell-bottomy? I'm sure you can't hear me right now.
They're kind of like hippie pants.
Yeah.
They're bell bottoms.
Right, okay, I was literally just asking that, but then I realized you couldn't hear me.
No.
Our other co-host just entered the chat.
Oh, I see you. Hi, hey Nessie, how you doing? Are you at work right now? Also, Moni says Elora, what a beautiful name. Yes, it's the name of the princess from the movie Willow.
Thank you. I got it for my birthday.
I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, this is my kid. We did all kinds of nerdy stuff together. We already discussed it a little bit, but like, did I teach you to play Pokemon? Or I was definitely there during your learning process. I'm not sure if I actually taught you how to play.
I think you were, because I definitely have strong memories of being 6 years old and only like super strong training one Pokemon.
Yeah,
Because one was all you needed.
right. You just need the one, I guess. And then you came over to Magic the Gathering, and we've played many a game of Magic the Gathering against each other.
And my current boyfriend Eric and I, we were playing competitively, but until further notice, our competitions have been postponed.
Right.
Which really sucks because I just put together a new deck and it's been kicking butt.
What is it? A commander deck?
It is a commander. We only like to really play commander. We've
Yeah,
looked
I
into a
like.
little bit of Brawl, which is just commander but with 60 cards.
Yeah.
But
What-
I enjoy the commander format.
Who's your commander in that deck?
It's Gargos the Vicious Wanderer.
I'm not familiar with him.
He is I think a 7/8 Hydra for 2 green and 3 colorless, and Hydra spells that you cast cost 4 colorless less.
Which just makes all of your X cost Hydras huge.
Yes. And I have some Hydras that double every turn. I have some that double each creature as they attack.
Right? Do you
So,
now, because of the way, and I'm sure it's distributing 1/1 counter, so do you have like doubling season in there and stuff?
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's a strong deck. We're speaking Greek as John listens on.
Oh no, I've just been looking at some of the chat.
But
Yeah,
that's
well-
okay.
And I also have a card in there called Chroma's Memorial.
Mm.
And it gives everything like flying, haste, vigilance,
First strike. Yeah.
and protection from black and red. So I now have, a 256 flying Hydra with
Right.
trample.
So yeah, that sounds like a pretty strong deck.
See,
It's been
Steven,
working really well.
Steven, I'm just like banking all of this so that you have no excuse not to just sit there and take all the Dark Crystal talk when.
Okay, give me. Hey, Laura, have you watched the?
No,
Dark
no, not
Crystal?
now. I mean, when we
It's-
do our big stream.
Well, it's been a while, but I did really love the Dark Crystal even when I was younger.
No. There's a Netflix show.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I do have Netflix.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
All
Yeah.
right, I know what I'm doing with my life today.
John, you may have already converted my daughter. That was easy. Laura, he's been trying to get me to watch this show for months.
He watched the first 10 minutes of it, decided that he couldn't get into it with the puppets, and just tuned out.
I made it 10 minutes.
It's like, how can you make your decision after only 10 minutes?
I've done it plenty of times. There have been enough movies where I've seen and I'm just, nope, I'm not doing this.
Well, watch it. Maybe you'll like it. I'm going to watch it, but it's like a meme that I haven't watched it yet.
No, see, this is my plan. The next phase of my plan is to turn your own family against you, Steve.
You're an evil man. Oh, hi, Kat. We are talking about the Dark Crystal.
No, well,
Age of Resistance.
Yeah.
Apparently human. I love the name.
Yeah, that's Kat. Kat, since you just walked in, that's my daughter, Elora.
Hi.
Yeah, so like I will watch it. And again, John and I have an agreement where, because John only listens to movie music. He's all about those scores and soundtracks of movies. So
yeah, I'm going to show off one of my products that I got for the Dark Crystal.
Okay, hold up. Let me give you the full screen.
Yeah, this is basically a making of book. It's got lots of art and
cool.
behind the scenes information and cool stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't own a lot of books.
I've got that. I've got the soundtracks. I have a bunch of Funko Pops.
But
I've gone all in on this show.
I think I'm probably the only person in existence that hasn't bought a Funko Pop yet.
I haven't either. So
high five.
I was so against them early on, but it's because they put out stuff that you might not be able to find things for that show or movie. There might not be a lot of collector's items. So if you want something, you can get a Funko Pop because they sometimes do some more obscure stuff. And then once you get one, it's like.
But now I need one to go with my first one.
Yeah.
It's just not something that's appealing to me. And I think that's just because I've been moving around a lot the last, couple of years. And I have a lot of stuff, and that's just more stuff for me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have to keep track to make sure I'm not buying too many because those things can easily pile up, and I just don't have the room for that. I want to make myself clear, though. This is not a mission of mine to convert anybody to Funko Pops because, as far as I'm concerned, I've gotten one more person to go ahead and watch the Dark Crystal show, and that's where I'm stopping.
Well, and we do have an agreement. Like, I want John to listen to certain songs.
Mm-hmm.
So, for every episode of the Dark Crystal I watch, he has to watch one music video of my choice.
See,
so John is going to get.
You keep saying that, but I have not seen you.
Okay, you know what?
Any music that you own. So it seems to me like I'm in agreement with this proposal. You're the one who keeps putting it on.
But you're going to be listening to heavy metal.
I won't. It's worth it to me.
It's worth it. Oh man, heavy metal. That's my stuff. Elora's a heavy metal. Elora's a metal fan too, at least somewhat.
I'm
actually wearing a "Bring Me the Horizon" shirt.
Okay.
So everybody realizes how far I'm willing to go for this. Like my preferred type of music is film scores and classical music. So the fact that I'm saying bring on the heavy metal just goes to show you how badly I want to do a Dark Crystal stream.
Ooh, here's an excellent question from Anna. When are we going to do a Stargate stream?
I'm all for that. You call me, I'll be right up here.
I know I've watched it with you. I've watched a lot of Stargate with you, but I will say I haven't watched Stargate, any of it really, in 10 years. So I would need a huge amount of refresher, and that show is so long. So long, over 200 episodes. So
it is.
So
which episode 200 is very hilarious, by the way.
It is, but but is that something that I Do I try to watch the whole thing again?
If you'd rather, we could talk about Stargate Atlantis. A very similar concept, different characters.
Yeah, I would want to do the original Stargate first.
See,
I'm down for either.
Oh, I don't know.
See, I was hoping you guys were just
Stargate
talking
seems
about.
to have MacGyver. No, I'm telling you.
Kristen Dean Anderson.
Now you got to get over some of the writing, and like every show from the 90s, sometimes there's a little bit of not great CG and stuff, but overall it's actually a really, really great science fiction show. And the thing is, it grows up in its own universe. Like in the beginning, it's very sort of like, we don't understand what's happening, but after years of things happening, humanity starts to become a player in galactic politics, and you see the progression of the technology as different tech gets shared with other races, because the Stargates are basically just a faster than light travel system. It's very, very good. It's quite good.
I'll give it 10 minutes.
And it definitely is good about running you through a lot of different emotions. I mean, sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes it's very sad. Sometimes it's a tearjerker. Sometimes it's all of them within 10 minutes.
Right. Yep. It's good. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, so like, could we do a Stargate one? We could, but like, to be ready for it would take me a long time and a lot of dedication, or it would be just a very sort of like, it wouldn't be very deep because none of it's fresh in my mind. So I mean,
you could break it up into several different streams, and you do like season 1 to season 3, and 4 to 6.
I guess
7 to 10.
I mean, I know I see a couple mentions also of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine is another one. And I actually think Star Trek might be easier for me to do just because, well, I don't know. I've never actually watched all of DS9, but everybody says how great it is. And I can't remember. I mean, I've seen episodes here and there, but it's really one of those that has a beginning, a middle, and an end as far as the entire narrative. So I don't.
I've seen the original 4 movies, and the most memorable one to me was the one with the whales.
Okay, wow. I won't call you for
and
that.
And the Return of Khan. I mean, I love the Return of Khan. I thought that one was really good.
Okay. But the old Khan from like 1980.
Yeah, and I remember watching the remake with Benedict Cumberbatch, and I think I did like the older one more.
Right.
I mean, and Steven, that's some good material for our retro movie stream.
What, all the old Star Trek movies?
Well, we don't have to do all of them, but I think Wrath of Khan especially I'd really like to do.
Okay, I've got a topic.
Okay.
Something I've been wanting to talk to you about for a while, but we haven't talked about it.
Bring it.
The ending of the last Avenger movie.
You mean the end of Endgame?
Yes. I know it wasn't Infinity War, but the end of Endgame, yes.
Okay, what about it?
What were your feelings on it? How did you feel about the ending?
Okay, so like John is the cinephile, so like I'm also curious how John felt about this.
Yeah, but I'm not the biggest fan of the MCU films, so I feel like that's more your
right.
areas.
I'm still curious as to how you felt about it, but like I am an MCU fan. I'm kind of a sucker for those movies. They are sort of like the modern retelling of ancient mythology in a lot of ways. I mean, down to the fact that there's literally Thor
and Odin and Loki.
So they are the heroes and the demigods and the other forces of nature from ancient mythology moved into a modern era, because the things that mythology was written about was describing the life and times and culture of the people doing the writing. So you can learn a lot about what they valued, what they feared, by looking at the mythology of a culture. Well, that's what modern superheroes stories do.
Right.
What are the
And
things we value? What are the things we fear? And if you are empowered, what is that? What does that mean as far as your responsibility and your culpability? And I think there's just a lot to take apart in superhero
right.
movies, a lot more than a lot of people give them credit for, because they can also be very flashy.
Well, and I had watched a documentary about Marvel, which was really interesting. I think it was on like KLRU or something. But I absolutely had to watch it. And it talked a lot about how, where did comic books start? They started out with these funny graphics with boom, bang, pop, to where they're now more detailed and more gory, because a lot of these kids, they're reading these stories, they adore them, they love them, and they want more. So then these people grow up and they become the new writers and the new artists, and they get to finally put themselves into these comics and into these stories. And then the cycle starts over again. These kids, then the next generation reads them and they get the same feelings, and it's just never ending. And that's how a lot of things go. And I think it was really interesting.
Yep. Okay. But how did I feel about the end? In a nutshell, I loved it. I actually thought it was kind of like a really great way to wrap up the end. Was it a little bit too neat in some ways? Yeah, I think so. Do I have questions that aren't answered? Yes, I do. But like, if you look at where they started in Iron Man and the stories they told through individual movies and through other Avengers films and crossover films, culminating in that, and if you had been invested in the previous iterations, or not iterations, but chapters of this ongoing story, by the time you got to the end, it was such an emotional high. And some people are just going to say it was a nostalgia trip in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Down to the fact that like they literally went back in time so we could see the same stuff again. But I also thought it was just so well written. The characters, you understood their motivations. You could see the way they had changed from the beginning to where they were at the end of this long arc of films. And I thought it was really kind of beautiful.
Well, yeah. And my first Marvel film I ever watched was, in fact, the first Iron Man movie.
Right. Well, it's the first one there is.
Right. And it saved Marvel from bankruptcy, actually.
Yeah.
I learned that in the documentary. And it was very heartbreaking for me to watch Iron Man die. And I mean, it's even more of a personal connection due to our last name.
Right.
So, I've always adored Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. as a whole. I adore him as an actor. And it was a very heartbreaking scene, and it clicked in my brain when you see Doctor Strange hold up that one, the one chance out of 42 million possibilities.
Right. And
this was the one. And my heart broke at that point.
Yeah, because you could see what was happening, and the way they set it up, and you can understand why Tony knew he had to be the one, why there's just so much unspoken, but yeah, I loved it. I
did too. I did miss Civil War. I never got to see Civil War, unfortunately.
One of the best.
That's what everyone's telling me, And I mean, I know that there's no big plot twist in the comic books. Captain America dies, and I know clearly Captain America doesn't die. But I did find it very funny in Infinity War when he's like, "Well, Cap and I had a falling out." And it was just, if you want to call it a falling out, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I will sort of extend an olive branch and say that I think that the Captain America movies, especially the two sequels, are probably some of the strongest entries in the MCU. Absolutely. And I particularly am a huge fan of Winter Soldier.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Winter Soldier is my favorite. Hold on a second, though. Hold those thoughts. We're going to go with the spoilers over, at least for the time being. So,
wait, are we? You didn't ask me for my take on.
I will, but I got to acknowledge one of our best friends in the chat, San Rixian, just showed up. Hi, Sanry.
Sandra,
What is
Hi,
my
San
costume?
Rixian.
Sanry, that's my daughter Elora, by the way.
Hi.
Moon 12?
Yeah, on Twitter, Moon
At
12.
Moon 12, yeah. But Sanry, I got the Yoda hat, I got the Oscar shirt, so yeah.
I got my bell bottoms on.
Thor Ragnarok is the best film in the Marvelverse. Fight me. I don't want to humiliate you in front of all these people, so
But I did really enjoy Thor Ragnarok. I did.
it was quite good. So, John, as somebody who was not a huge fan of the Marvel movies, without spoiling anything, how did you feel about them? How did you feel about it? Since that's kind of
the ending or just overall?
I mean, yeah, I guess the ending, the back half of Act 3.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on Endgame. I thought that Infinity War really surprised me in terms of how amazing I thought it was. And I thought it was an emotional powerhouse. It was one of those things that even if you're not a huge fan of the MCU on like a pure, superhero loving level, if you're someone who grew up loving superheroes, just this whole thing about all these heroes coming together and fighting was really thrilling. And the way they ended the film was, you don't expect something like that from an MCU film. And even if I mean, obviously I knew they were going to backtrack on it. And to their credit, they only backtracked sort of partially because they did still have the 5-year gap. So it had an impact on the universe.
Right.
But still, regardless of any of that, I thought that the ending was really daring. And they decided to end it with, a very simple like end credits where it was just, I think it was like white text on black screen, which was so unusual for a Marvel film. Usually they have all those hyperkinetic graphics at the end. And so I really responded to Infinity War. I'll be honest, I didn't care for the overall plot of Endgame. I didn't care for the time travel thing.
Right.
I don't know. I just thought it was an easy way out of what they.
That's probably one of the more common arguments that people make about that film, and I think it's legit. I guess I just can forgive it because of the emotional highs I get off of that movie. But that's because I'm also very invested in that storyline.
Yeah. But to go into some of my larger feelings for the MCU, whether or not it's quote unquote the best objectively, my favorite of the films is still the original Iron Man. I just feel like, and it's
still in my top 5.
It's before they knew for sure they'd be able to go for a cinematic universe. So it has to live and breathe on its own, even with that end credit, after credit sequence. You take that out, and it's an entirely standalone film, and it's also before Disney took over the MCU, so it was still Paramount. So it has a more sort of gritty adult feel to it than I think the later films did. It feels more creative in my mind than a lot of the later films. I don't know. It's just kind of the way I feel. As for some other highlights from the series, I do really like Thor Ragnarok. I think it's extremely creative.
Guardians, both 1 and 2, are pretty great.
I've only seen the first one.
Man, I feel like I'm failing as a.
You're not. I mean, this is personal, but a lot of things I've been going through, like through the last 4 years.
Right. You've
So
had a lot on your hands, we'll say, not a whole lot of time to yourself.
right.
I think part of my issue, though, is that as great as entertaining as a lot of those films are, they started to feel very homogenous. Where, I mean, they have different directors and different qualities to themselves, but something about them feels like they're cut from the same cloth. And I prefer my superhero franchises to all be unique.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think I think the problem is I'm just not as gung-ho about cinematic universes in general as a lot of people are, because if we're telling a story about Iron Man, I want it to feel different from a story about Spider-Man. I want it, and they all seem to carry the same core qualities of a specific type of humor, and there's something stylistic that's there. I mean, they're all stylistically different in a way, because obviously Guardians is a much different film from Captain America, the First Avenger, or
Right.
the original Iron Man, but there's still some overall quality that feels like they're coming from the same place.
Yeah. That's a good thing, though,
And
because they are occupying the same reality.
yeah, I guess I'm just not super gung-ho about that.
Okay.
It's part of the reason why I wasn't thrilled that Disney bought out Fox and now X-Men is going to be part of the same universe, because I enjoyed that they were a part of their own universe with its own stakes. Even if all the movies weren't necessarily that great, I liked that they belonged to their own story.
I did really enjoy Logan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked that movie.
I don't think we'll get another film like that.
I don't think so either. I haven't seen Dark Phoenix yet, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was mixed on Dark Phoenix. I think, unfortunately, the new, younger cast never really gelled together, and probably the reason why the best film in their series is Days of Future Past is because they had Wolverine mixed in with them, and plus you had the older cast in the future scenes. That said, I think they all did actually a really good job in First Class. I'm quite fond of that one. But to me, Logan was the swan song for the X-Men.
The Fox X-Men movies were a mixed bag. Some of them were very, very good. Some of them were not that great at all, and others were kind of in between. But yeah.
But see, for me, my philosophy is I'll take the not so great ones if we can get the ones where they were at their best.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I will take the first two X-Men films.
Yep, those are both great.
Days of Future Past and Logan over all the MCU films.
Oh, wow. That's pretty strong.
That's how I feel about it. So
yeah, that's pretty strong. But hey, you're entitled to your opinion.
Even if your opinion's wrong, but
no, I'm not going to say that. But those four movies that you named, I think are the best ones they made as well.
Yeah.
The first two X-Men, Days of Future Past, and then Logan.
Yeah, and then I also, going over to DC, my favorite types of movies from over there are like the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yep.
Because those are a wholly unique vision onto themselves, and that's part of why I love them so much.
Yeah, I really did enjoy the Snyderverse Batman movies.
I know a lot of people.
Not the Snyderverse.
Oh God, Stephen, I was about to be like
the ones before. What is his?
Chris Bane? No.
Well, Bane is in it, but it's got Tom Hardy as Bane, and it's got the best Joker that ever Joker. Yeah, Chris Nolan. There you go.
I thought it was Chris something. I was close.
Also, Steph is just popped into the chat. Hi, Steph is. You're just about. You just missed all the Marvel talk, unfortunately. I also see Padar just popped into the chat. How you doing, Padar?
And then I as far as comic book characters go, I'm also a huge fan of Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy movies.
I haven't seen any of the Hellboys.
I'll always be gutted that he never got to finish his trilogy. And it sucks because they killed that not too long before he won his Oscar for The Shape of Water. And it's like, you just know he would have been able to use that to get them to go ahead with the second sequel, and it's just a shame because I don't think really anybody cared for the reboot they did. I haven't seen it myself, but I know it didn't go over too well.
Yeah, it is what it is. They can't all be winners. Pedro asked a great question. When are they going to make a Squirrel Girl movie? I don't know, but I would watch the heck out of a Squirrel Girl movie. You guys know Squirrel Girl?
No.
The unbeatable Squirrel Girl. She's the type of hero that, like, on one page, and literally her power is to talk to and control squirrels. But like on one page, talk about, I'm going to go off and face Thanos by myself now. And then on the next page, she'll be like dusting herself off after she's beaten Thanos. And then goes on with her life. Like, you never actually see the stuff she does, but she's never lost.
There's a lot of Magic the Gathering art with, like big giant beasts being swarmed by squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I could think about. And it's so funny.
So I was asked, did I watch the X-Men Evolution cartoon? I did not, but I was probably like already in my 20s when that came out and had kids of my own. So, like, no, I did not. Although I recognize that it's a thing that I probably should watch because so many people have said that the X-Men cartoon and there was an animated Batman cartoon as well that definitely on the list.
And you can't forget the nearest and dearest thing to my heart is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I watched Ninja Turtles when I was a kid, but I had my own sort of Ninja Turtles, different than your Ninja Turtles.
I know, but they did eventually make a movie with my generation's version of Ninja Turtles and your generation's version of Ninja Turtles.
Yep, the crossover movie that had like the comic book versions of them in there as well.
Yes, and I adored that movie.
That was really good.
It was really weird to see like my dad's version and my version, but it's still something that we could have a lot of similarity and common ground onto. I mean, I adore the Ninja Turtles. I got a whole lot of. I have a Ninja Turtle blanket on me right now.
I eventually outgrew the Ninja Turtles, but when I was like 12 or 13, I was writing Turtle Power on all my book covers, and
I just had a horrifying realization that when you guys were talking about the different generations of turtles, it took me a second to realize that my recollection of turtles was yours and not the younger person.
It was mine, not hers.
I was like, oh shit, that's right. I am that old.
You're about right in the middle of me and Elora.
Yeah.
How old are you, John? 34?
35 going on 36.
Okay. 45, 35, and Elora is going to turn 23 this year.
Okay, you remember. Good job.
I know. Ooh.
But yeah, no, I was super into Ninja Turtles when I was a kid, and I still love the original film. Just say, I think that it stands up remarkably.
I have the like really bad CGI Ninja Turtle movies. I have 1 and 2.
Nice.
Oh, there's nothing nice about that, Steven.
I adore them. I mean, I have a Ninja Turtle clock. I have Ninja Turtle sweaters, blankets, everything. I adore them, and I don't care that I'm 23. I'm not ashamed. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun because I don't know if you talked about her a lot, Steven, but I have a daughter who is 3. She'll be 4 in July. And I, occasionally watch all these shows that I watched as a kid with her now. So, I'm now getting to develop my own daughter's nerdy side. I'm working on it.
Right on.
Next year she'll be rolling D20s. Just watch.
Fingers crossed. Steph has asked about Tank Girl, which, have you ever seen that movie, John? I imagine you have. Or read the comic book? No, you haven't seen the movie Tank Girl? It's weird. It's real weird. It's Lori Petty plays a title character, and she lives in a post-apocalyptic wasteland in Australia, and her best friends are a group of mutant kangaroos, and she drives around in a big tank and blows stuff up. I actually kind of highly recommend it.
I'm sorry, did you say mutant kangaroos?
I did.
I'm sold.
Okay,
I think her boyfriend was a mutant kangaroo.
my favorite contribution to our chat right here. There are two types of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans: the ones who played the game on Nintendo NES and those who haven't.
That is not a lie. And yes, I have lost that game so hard so many times. But I love Tank Girl. Tank Girl introduced me to... So I had the soundtrack to Tank Girl on CD, and it introduced me to Bjork and Portishead both. So that, and I love both of those singers or groups or whatever, musicians. But yeah, you probably never even heard of Portishead or Bjork, John. Yep. Okay. Called out. He's like, I'm not even going to bother. But yeah, Tank Girl, interesting movie. I actually recommend it for you, John. I think you might. It's so weird. You might just love it.
Which, by the way, I'm just now realizing between not knowing a lot of these references and also just going completely to town on my ambivalence towards the MCU movies, I just want to throw this out there real quick. I apologize if anybody thinks I'm a total film snob.
Yeah, he apologizes if you think he is. I mean, he is, but he apologizes if you think
sorry,
he is.
I don't mean to be. I have a lot of guilty pleasures, I promise.
No, John, we love you here. You know we do. So, hey, guys, we've been going for like an hour. This is an informal stream, so I don't feel like I need to mid-roll. But hey, if you are having fun, go ahead and hit the like. And we have patrons, and I love my patrons. Steph is a patron. Lady Leaf is a patron. She's not here right now. But we've also got, you know who the number one patron is. That's Ridiculous Ed Tollett, a.k.a. Sean, who's always keeping it real. We've also got Lady Shar, who has her own reaction channel, Shar the Music. She does reactions to a lot of hip-hop and stuff like that, so go check her out. I'm doing patrons from memory, so forgive me. There's two more. Kraken Tacos, a.k.a. the Joe of many names. So, and I'm going to feel bad if I can't remember the last one, so I'm just going to look it up real quick.
Kraken Tacos.
Yeah. Oh, everybody knows who Kraken Tacos is. Everybody who's like in the community. He's around. You guys know him.
I'll never forget him.
Right? But I'm looking right now. Oh, Maura Lee, who just joined. That's right, Maura Lee. There you go. See, Nessie just barely beat me to it. But yeah, Lady Maura Lee, also a patron. And so just wanted to take a chance to say thanks to all of you. And thanks to everybody who shows up all the time in the chat. And, you know, I thought we would go live today and there would be like 4 people watching. But we've had 15 to 20 people the whole hour. And it's nice to know that people care about what we have to say, even if what we have to say is kind of just stream of consciousness rambling, because that's what you're getting today.
But I'm having fun.
I'm glad you are, sweetheart.
I mean, this is definitely something different for me, because normally I just be laying on my bed watching some tacky TV show.
Well, we do a lot of that too.
Oh no, I've been bored enough. I've been watching like MTV TV shows.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But after this nice long conversation, I think I've got a few that I can start watching and not be watching MTV.
Yeah, might I recommend Dark Crystal Age of Resistance?
There you go.
I hear it's really good.
Oh, where'd you hear that from?
Anyway, I digress. So I will say this too. Like, I think I'm going to step away for about 3 minutes, so you guys can keep talking if you want. But I do want to. She has not seen The Expanse, Paydar. She does not have access to Amazon Prime right now. But I'm going to see about fixing that up because my kid needs to watch my favorite show. But if anybody in the chat actually wants to come on to have like FaceTime on, let me know. And oh my gosh, Cedric, somebody I know from work. What's up, my man? We're just chilling. Actually, I'm about to take a short off-camera break. But like, if anybody wants to come on, say something in the chat and tell me how to find you if I don't have your social media. And no comment, Violent. No comment. But if anybody wants to join, let me know. And
I could really use a quick break too. If
Yeah,
we
that's
just want to
fine.
put spotlight on John here.
John, you're in charge now. Are you
All
okay with that, or do you want to take a break too?
No, I'll stay on.
Yeah. So I'll be back literally in like 3 minutes though. I'm just gonna go take care of a thing. Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, wow, guys, I've taken over once again. Oh my god. No, Sanri, I am not going to do that. You guys, you guys want to get that from me, you can go on my Twitter page. I promise there's enough of it. So yeah, no, it's Talk X-Men. Okay. Look.
Hey, I joined you, John. I told Steven, don't leave John in there by himself. I can come in and hold his hand.
I'm probably about 10 seconds away from drowning.
No, you won't drown, John. You're too smart.
So, how are you doing?
I am blessed. Hanging around the house. The guys have been out of work for since like the first week of March, or the second week of March. But my dogs are thrilled because all their humans are home.
Yeah, I don't think our dog has ever been happier. 'Cause he cannot bear it when any one of us isn't in the house. So if somebody's gone, he basically sits up by the front door and just whines. So he's been a happy camper.
Well, my dogs love everybody, but they have special people.
Mhm.
And for my dog Willow, Stephen is her god. So he's the person that she loves the most, although I feed her, so she likes me pretty well too. And my dog Xander, I'm his person. He's right behind me everywhere we go. And right now he's at the pet gate looking in here at me because he can't be in here with me. Stephen doesn't let him in his room. So that they both sleep with me. And hey, from their names, Willow and Xander, you can tell what I'm a fan of. If you ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh my God, I am such a huge fan.
So, well, I'm a Joss Whedon fan for the most part because he comes up with what I call Whedon-isms. And Marty Noxon is also a good writer who comes up with great wit. And so does Jane Espenson. It's hard to say. Espenson. And all of those people have been on many of the shows that I'm a fan of. Once Upon a Time. And I can't think of anything for Marty Noxon off the top of my head, but it's there.
Yeah, Jane Espenson, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was a writer on one of the season 1 Game of Thrones episodes.
She might have been.
I think she was part of the writing team for episode 6, the one where Tyrion's being held at the Eyrie, and that has some great wit in that episode. So I'm sure she helped with that. But but yeah, I love all those people. I've got all the Buffy DVD sets sitting on my shelf over there.
Me too. Watched them when they aired on television and then got the DVDs as soon as they came out. I usually bought them at Sam's because they're a little less expensive.
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't start watching Buffy until season 5. And, back then it wasn't that easy to go back and watch previous episodes. So I remember there was a store in the mall that it was called Suncoast Video, and they sold a lot of VHS tapes. And I found box sets they had like 6 episodes from seasons 1, 2, and 3. Like season 1 had a lot of the beginning episodes. The season 2 set had the Angel arc where he turns into Angelus.
Yes.
And season 3 was the main stuff with the mayor and Faith. And so I was able to catch up watching those stories, but I didn't see the early seasons in the entirety until the DVD set started to come out. And that was really exciting.
Well, season 1 is it's finding itself, but everything pretty much after that is just excellent.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of why my MCU favorite is the first Avengers, because there's a lot of what I call Whedonisms in the dialogue of that show.
Yeah, I remember when that came out. It was so exciting as a Joss Whedon fan just to see him getting this big opportunity and to get to enjoy all those touches that he brings to his stuff on a big motion picture. It was kind of surreal.
Well, y'all recently did Firefly, which is another Whedonism show. So if you haven't seen that, you need to go out and watch it, because if you can find it, because it's excellent. Do you know where that's streaming now?
I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah, I figured it was streaming somewhere because it's too good a show not to be.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, even if you don't have Hulu, I know it's not that expensive to actually purchase it digitally. I think I often see it on iTunes for about, I think it's like $12 or $13. So it's not that much.
Steven, you became old and a woman.
How about that? Hi, Laura.
Hi, Grandma. How are you?
I am blessed, and you?
I'm alive and well. That's all I can ask for right now.
That's right. That's about all of us can ask for.
Yeah, it's been really hard. I haven't seen my daughter in 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's real tough, but I've been doing video chats with her, which is about the best I can get right now.
Yeah, that's helpful. We are blessed that in 1918, they did not have social media like we do today. So if you were isolated, you were truly isolated. And about the only thing you could do is to entertain yourself was maybe reading or probably radio. I don't know if they had commercial radio back then. But because I wasn't alive back then. my father wasn't alive back then. So that was a really long time ago, but it was a terrible tragedy. More people died from what they called the Spanish flu than died in World War I and II.
Oh, Elora dropped.
Yeah, Elora dropped. Steven's back, as you can see from the Oscar the Grouch shirt behind me. So I'm out of here. Thank you for putting up with me for a few minutes. I love you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye, Ma.
Bye.
And then she might try to get back to him.
No, I have to agree with that, guys. It's funny. I used to rag on social media, but not anymore. It's certainly, I mean, I've learned to appreciate it big time over the past year since I've met so many new people. And under these circumstances, it's a lifesaver. I don't know what we'd be doing without the internet and social media.
Yeah, we are fortunate, which is why we're doing this. Like, there's nothing else to do. Like yesterday, I played 6 hours worth of video game with a friend online. Never play online, but like, what? There's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll be getting a computer soon, and you and I can play something together, Steven.
Okay, as long as it's a strategy game.
That's fine with me. I
'Cause I
love
think-
strategy.
Yeah, I might be able to actually beat you on a strategy game.
You most likely will.
Because if we're playing something that's like a shooter, you're gonna kill me. Also,
The only shooter I ever play anymore is Mass Effect.
Mm,
My favorite video game series
it's a
to
good
this
game.
day. Man, I mean, my first video game ever was like console video game was Red Dead Redemption, which you're the one who introduced me to that. So as soon as Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, I immediately bought it, and then I have yet to play it.
Really?
Yes, believe it or not, I've done the intro, and when I first got my Xbox, nothing was working right on the Xbox because I didn't have internet. Then I got internet, and then I got other games, and kind of lose track. So, but yeah, I have it. It's sitting right there on my video game tower, and I have yet to touch it.
Pretty good.
But I've been playing other things like Fallout 4. I've
Fallout
been
4 is one you can go back to. Skyrim is one you can keep going back to as well.
right. And I always have a big fear of sequels.
Mm.
Because okay, my favorite video game, like of all time, is a video game called Nier. And they made a sequel to it called Nier Automata. And I played Nier Automata, and I didn't like it.
Right?
Even
I didn't. I mean, it was still a really, really good game, but when it's your favorite video game, or it's something you have high standards, you have your heart set on something, and it's hard for a lot of people to meet those expectations.
Oh, apparently I did something to Paydar, and apparently I have kicked him from the channel. I don't know if I silenced him or what, but y'all talk while I try to undo this terrible mistake.
Or if you're listening, we swear that wasn't on
Yeah, it
purpose.
was not on purpose. It really wasn't. And I'm trying, and I'm doing everything I can right now to figure out how to unban you if I banned you. Because that's just, oh my gosh, I'm actually really embarrassed by that. This is going to take me a second, so
But yeah, that's kind of why I haven't gotten to Red Dead Redemption 2, is that I do have a big fear of sequels. And that's movies and video games
I
alike,
yeah, okay. By the way, Paydar, you should be unbanned now. That was completely an accident. I'm so sorry. You should be unbanned now, though. A big old oops there, y'all.
Shame on you.
Yeah, I'm very, very sorry. No, I got it figured out.
Yeah, you're sorry. Just
Okay.
kidding.
Maybe now. Okay, so Paydar, check to see if you can, if you didn't leave. It was a mistake, I promise. Anyway, yeah. Oops. I'm totally crap. And Bernie, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention, because I did not notice that I had done that. It probably happened while I was on my phone coming back in. Big old mistake. Anyway, we'll just keep on keeping on.
So I don't know, do you have anything you want to ask me, Stephen? Because we've talked about a lot of stuff as far as my interests and all that stuff. Is there anything you want to ask me that we haven't talked about before, or I figure now's the time?
Yeah. So, John, what's your favorite video game?
So I haven't played video games in many years. So I'd say the last time I was really into video games was in the days of Nintendo 64. And my favorite one from back in those days was GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, we talked about this before.
I was obsessed with that, and I was always playing with my best friend Tim. Although, whenever we'd be playing with somebody else, they would gang up on me in the multiplayer and start like planting explosives and set them off when I would go by. But yeah, that was a favorite. And then just way back in the days of Nintendo and, of course, Super Mario Brothers, is an old favorite. In Sega Genesis, I was also obsessed with Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat was one for sure for me as well. But so, like, I guess you didn't really play a whole lot of like RPG style stuff, or
no. I had a coworker who I went over to his place a few times to watch movies and stuff, and he was into a lot of that stuff. I don't remember specifically which games he played, but I remember he was into all that. But no, I had kind of moved out of playing video games by that point, and I never really got back into it. But I
mean, that's fine. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like Alora will tell you, I'm a strategy gamer. She's a strategy gamer. It's what I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Which, by the way, like Crusader Kings 2 is one of those games that I just love. And that is one of the, like, every now and then I get this idea that maybe I'm going to stream a game of Crusader Kings, specifically with the Game of Thrones mod, because that's what everybody seems to really like. But yeah, try to take over the world as Robb Stark or something.
I loved that game. I think the last time I had visited you, you introduced me to that game, and I was just immediately obsessed with it. I mean, that's one of the main reasons I want to get a computer, is just so I can get that game.
Well, Crusader Kings 3 is supposed to come out later this year or early next year, I think.
Probably early next year, just due to the delays with everything.
Bob Stark. I have no relatives named Robert that I'm aware of.
I do have
Robert Downey Jr.
I do have to say, Stephen, that's why it's such a pity that we live so far away from each other, because I don't think I'd like anything more than just to come over to your house and play video games.
That would be awesome. Maybe we'll do that in July when I come to your house.
Yeah. And because we'll be having, I know we're already set for movie nights, and then yeah, we can do a bit of that. Provided July happens, I'm crossing my fingers that we're going to be in the clear by then.
Right on, right on. I still don't see Hadar coming back. I hope I didn't upset him. It were an accident, I promise. Oh well, what can you do? Oh, there he is. Just came back. Hey, Padar. I am very sorry about that, and I'm glad you have a good humor about it. For you, it was San Andreas, the only game that you got stuck and spent hours going for drives in the country. I played a lot of San Andreas as well. I'm not sure it holds up, but like it was such a great game. Like you got to play a true anti-hero. Part of my problem with GTA 5 was that like they were just all bad people that you were playing as. But at least in San Andreas, yes, you're a gang member, but like there is some altruism and there's some motivation for the way he acts, and he's an anti-hero, but he's not a villain. And in GTA 5, I'm just like, you're the bad guys in this.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I mean, I've played GTA 5. I played a little bit of San Andreas. I was a little young when I played it, so I didn't kind of fully grasp what I was supposed to be doing.
Yep.
But I talked to you a little bit about this, Dad. The current video game I've been playing is a game called No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, it is a geek's wet dream. Especially if you're a space geek. I mean, it's traveling planets, it's finding new races, it's trading with these races, it's fighting off space pirates. I mean, it's everything you could ever want.
Right.
It's very hard and very unforgiving in the beginning. But once you kind of get the hang of it, you're in it. And it's kind of, the universe is your oyster.
Right. Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun. That was one of those games that, like, when it came out, it had a lot of issues, a lot of problems. It was very poorly reviewed, but like it was also a success story of developers listening to their fan base and doing everything they can to make improvements after the fact. And it's from all indications, it's actually turned into something pretty great.
Yeah, and I agree with Sanrixian. It is indescribable, and it feels very real. Because I mean, you are flying your own spaceship, and you're going through space, and you get on planets, and you get to discover things. There's a race that nobody likes, and you don't want to mess with them because they don't mess with you. I mean, it is. I mean, like I said, the universe is your oyster. You can do whatever you want to in that game.
Right. Maybe I'll give it a try.
I mean, I would highly recommend it, especially if you like space, which I know you do.
Yeah, I do.
A little. Yeah. I mean, it like I said, in the beginning, it's very hard. It's very unforgiving. But, that's kind of what happens when you just plop, here's a planet, do your best.
Right. It's not holding your hand, apparently.
It does not. I mean, and it's kind of like when your character dies, everything is gone. You have to start over.
Tough, man. Hardcore mode, no matter what.
Yeah.
Right on.
But, to me, that's a driving point. Like, okay, I got to be a lot more cautious of what I'm doing. Because, there's probably very few perfectly habitable planets. There's not a lot of Earths out there,
Right.
Some places are extremely hot, some extremely cold, some have radiation. And everything in between,
Yeah, but I imagine that's part of what makes that game great. It's because, like, when I think about a role-playing game, there are 3 pillars to role-playing, especially when it comes to the tabletop. And that is combat, character interaction, and then exploration. And like a lot of games do the combat very well. Nice. I see you, Pedar. A lot of games do combat very well. And then, like, because most games are single player, your NPC interaction are covering that sort of like role playing aspects where you're talking to people and you're trying to get information or convince them of something or improve their relationship with you. But one thing that a lot of, especially computer games, sometimes they can fail on the exploration side, where you go into a dungeon and it seems like the last 12 dungeons you went in were all more or less the same. But it sounds like No Man's Sky is really leaning heavily on that exploration part.
It does. And I mean, there is, NPC interactions. In every system that you go to, there's always a space station with one of the 3 main races always running it. So you always have interactions. You can go out and do stuff to improve your standing with these people. You actually have to learn their language. of the three main races. So you don't understand the language, and you get to learn the language one at a time, and it's hard, but it's rewarding because like the more you learn, then you can talk, and you're like, okay, I'm starting to understand, but I still don't know this word and this word, but you can kind of start piecing together what they mean.
Right on. That's an interesting set of exploration and role play mechanics they've got there. Maybe I'll give it a try.
And Paydar, there is a glowing blue flower you can pick that makes your jetpack fuel last longer.
Do they call it proto flower?
Call it what?
Proto flower, because
Proto
that's what
flower. I don't know. You just pick it and it makes your jetpack go further.
you don't know what it's called.
No, I think it's kind of different based on each planet because every planet's different. And they have different animals, and you have to scan them, and you
I
can
got
learn
you.
what they
I
are.
got
Yeah.
you. No, he's making an Expanse reference.
Ah.
A lot of like most of the people that I knew when I started the channel and all that, most of the people that are fans of this channel came to us through the Game of Thrones and the Song of Ice and Fire community, the vast majority. But Paydar found the channel when we started doing the Expanse coverage, and we've done more Expanse coverage on this channel than any two other things combined.
I guess I need to catch up, huh?
And it's because it's just that good. And yeah, any blowing glue stuff, that's definitely an Expanse reference. And I love that show. I'm just telling you.
I can tell.
Oh, by the way, might as well announce it here. Amos won the poll.
Oh my God, I'm in such shock.
There were 4 different people to vote for, and he had almost 50% of the votes. So big surprise. We'll be talking about Amos here in about in a couple of weeks. Donkey balls indeed, Phil. No Alex this time. I mean, nobody's really surprised that Amos is first. Not Strickland. Troll. No, the 4 choices were the Rossi crew. So, yeah. But yeah, so we'll be talking about Amos, not this coming weekend, because this Sunday is what? Picard. Picard ends on the last episode airs Thursday, so this Sunday we'll be talking about that series, but then the next week is the Amos stream. You can call her Moon. It's fine. Her name is Elora, but like she's had a million different aliases at this point in her life, like a lot of kids her age have.
Well, I just thought it was kind of funny because when I first kind of started doing the internet, the moon thing had just come around. And it was one of those, like, find your name based on the first letter of your first name, the first letter of your last name. And somebody's, made their, wolf name or something, and it was Moon. So Moon's, the retarded wolf. And that's what my best friend has my name in as on her phone.
Nice.
So she just calls me Moon. So I was just, that's funny. I'll throw it up there for an internet name. Because my middle name's Moon, so works out.
Violet Messiah's got a great question. James Holden or Jon Snow, who knows less? And I
haven't read the books.
I think the easy answer is, and again, I haven't read the books of The Expanse. I've only watched the show. But to me, Jon Snow knows far, far less than James Holden. I'm sorry. James Holden has secrets of the universe inside his brain. How can he know less than Jon Snow, who didn't even know who his mom is? I mean, look at this. Look at this baby. This baby knows nothing. You can tell.
I remember when we got that.
Oh, were you there with me when I bought that?
I was.
Sanrixian stole it from me.
Because you gave me all the leftover baby accessories that Aletta now plays with.
There you go. I forgot about that, but yeah. So, John, you've been quiet for a while. I need to hear you. Yeah. Well, she went off on No Man's Sky and stuff, and it's fine. What do you got?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, non-video games. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about how's your Davos cosplay coming?
Well, I've been working with the person who's designing it, but honestly, since this whole thing with the pandemic started up, I haven't really been in touch with her, so I have to do that and figure out what's going on, because I don't know if she's able to work. I mean, thankfully there's more time now because we don't have Ice and FireCon next month, so
Right, we've got extra time,
so I don't have to worry about that. But I'm hoping that we're still good to go for Con of Thrones, and I fully intend on doing it, except for the heat is going to be murder. But I'm going to tough it out.
I've been working on a new cosplay too, actually.
Which
piece
one?
by piece. It's from an anime.
Okay.
It's from an anime called Assassination Classroom. And it's this girl named Sayade Sukino.
Okay.
It's a basic like Japanese schoolgirl outfit, but she has tentacles that come out of the back of her neck. So that's what I'm trying to work on right now, which is really, really hard.
Neck tentacles.
Yes, neck tentacles.
And Sandry is saying, yes. Have you seen Assassination Classroom, Sandry? Wouldn't surprise me even a little bit if you had. Resident comic book and anime fan right there.
Right, and I'm really excited because we've been going to San Japan. Sanrixian wants to adopt me. That's fine.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, you just make the check payable out to me. I'll send you my bank account information, and we'll work out a price, and I'll just sell her to you.
Yeah. But this year at San Japan in San Antonio, Chris Tyndall is going to be there, and he is the voice of, well known as Ken Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul, but he also does the voice of Karma from Assassination Classroom. So I'm really hoping I can get this cosplay done by then and get to show up as one of my favorite characters and get to meet another one of my favorite characters.
Padar, the answer to your question is probably 12 Monkeys.
That's the best one, in my opinion, as well. That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, that movie perplexed me so much when I watched it when I was younger, and but it's just so good. Just the acting is incredible. I mean, Brad Pitt his performance in that is pretty legendary.
Yeah. It's been too long. I guess I could use a rewatch of that one, but I kind of just not in the mood right now for whatever reason.
Yeah. Arrow, which is a specialty Blu-ray DVD label, actually just released a special edition of it last year. So I rewatched it, and it was remastered, and it looked beautiful. And yeah, it's just as great as I remembered it. And I even got more out of it than I did when I watched it years back. So if anybody hasn't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's
yeah, but maybe give it a couple of months before you actually watch it.
I haven't watched a whole lot of like disease outbreak movies, but I've seen a couple, but they're more horror like related.
Yeah, but
Things like 28 Weeks and Cabin Fever, both really good in my opinion. But I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Can I just say, though, that I don't know that you necessarily have to wait on 12 Monkeys, because it's not a movie that sort of, really goes overboard showing like people catching the disease and suffering through an actual pandemic or anything like that. It's sort of about how they're trying to save the world from an outbreak.
Right.
And So I don't know. Maybe it can be a little triggering for some people, but well, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. But if you want to wait, yeah.
All I'm saying is that it's a movie about a really bad disease, so know what you're getting into. Actually, I have a question for both Elora and John. Now, John, this Davos cosplay is your first ever cosplay, and I think you're going to crush it. You just need a little bit of time to stop shaving beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, I had stopped shaving, and then when the convention got pushed back, I was like, oh no, I am not putting up with this anymore.
Right. I'll help you dye the gray in your beard too if you want. But and Elora, you've done a couple of cosplays. I know you've done Raven a couple of times, and
I've also done Beetlejuice.
right, I remember your Beetlejuice cosplay as well.
Oh my gosh, I loved that one, but I will never do it again.
Right, but here's my question: if you had, if money was no object, what cosplay would you just like love to do? Like you could get somebody to come in and do prosthetics for your face if you needed to.
Liliana Vess.
Okay, that is a fantastic answer. For those of you that don't know, Liliana Vess is a Magic the Gathering character who is a necromancer. I'm going to see if I can't find a picture of her. Liliana Vess. What about you, John?
I feel a bit more freedom to go this way since you did. You braved the Lyanna costume, so I'm just gonna say it because it's a badass costume. End of season 6, Cersei Lannister.
Yes, brother. Yes. I'm here for it. Oh, there's so many great pictures here of Liliana.
And I mean the very last one where she's, where she's crowned queen, because that's just like the most, crown and all. That's a badass just costume. They did such a fantastic job with that, and yeah, I'd say bring it on.
This is Liliana Vess. She's got a great headpiece, great dress, and a lot of her artwork has these really subtle tattoos. She's cursed by she owes her soul to 4 different demons at once. So yeah, that's a cosplay that would not be easy to do, but it would be awesome to see.
Right. If, like I said, if money was no object, absolutely, hands down, Liliana Vess.
Yeah, and here's the thing, John, if you do a Cersei, I will match you in some way. Like there is no way I'm never like cosplay is one of those things like what's on some level it's like once you wear it, now I want to go on to the next one and the next one and get something else. But that Lyanna cosplay is just too much fun. I will definitely do it again.
Yeah, I'm just getting through this. Oh wait, why do I hear an echo? I hear an echo somewhere.
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, that's weird. I'll just try to ignore it for now. But yeah, I'm just trying to get through this year and see how the Davos one turns out. Because I only have so much money I can spend on it, so hopefully it's gonna look good. We'll see. But I just really wanted to do one for my first year of really being part of the community.
Right.
Because it just felt like it's another way for me to fully plunge myself into it.
Well, if I hadn't cosplayed, we wouldn't be friends.
That's true.
So, right there, cosplay brings people together.
I remember when you did your Sokka cosplay.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Shaved the beard and everything.
Even shaved my hair like all the way up to here so that it was the shape of Sokka's. Yeah.
It was a serious commitment.
Yeah, because after that, like I had to shave my whole head because what hair I had left was too narrow to look like anything other than a bad mohawk.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that, Sanri. Jinx is doing a femme modern Rhaegar, and you're doing modern Lyanna. Yeah, you're just gonna have to have blue flowers to make it obvious. But like, so what is Lyanna Stark's style if she's modern Lyanna? I don't even know. But I can't wait to see it in October.
Yeah, I'm hoping that San Japan will still be going on because I mean that's not until September. So hoping really hard that everything clears up by then because you know I really did enjoy going to A-Kon, but it was really nice to go to something different.
Yeah.
And it's even more exciting that you know last year was a very heavy My Hero Academia year.
That show's
There
really
was-
popular right now.
Right. So I'm hoping, you know, this year it'll be a little different, but I mean, cons are always so much fun for me, and it was actually the first date that me and my current boyfriend went on.
You know, that's a pretty good date, I would say. Like for me,
Well, and he paid for my ticket and everything, so
if I met somebody and I was like, "Hey, let's go out and do something. What do you want to do?" And her recommendation was Comic Con, I would be like, "Okay, but are we getting married this weekend too?"
right. And we've been together coming up on 8 months now.
Right on. Good stuff. Good stuff. I still haven't met him.
No, you haven't, and
But
I really would love for you to, but
yeah, I would love to meet him too. He seems like a genuinely good guy. But yeah, we don't live really close to each other. We both live in Texas, but Texas is a big place. It takes 4 hours to get from my house to your house.
mm-hmm. And I've got an old car, so
Yeah.
not
So yeah, don't see each other as much as we want. We talk on the phone though, which is good stuff. But yeah, John, I feel like I'm cutting you out of the conversation at every corner, and I feel
It's funny
bad.
you were just talking about Texas, and I was thinking about a conversation I had with Crystal, my sister. Which, by the way, that's a whole story that the chat doesn't know about. That I just recently found out that I have a half sister.
Aw.
Yeah, pretty incredible. Basically, we found out about this through another family member who they got in touch with because of blood work they had done. And so this was a whole big revelation where we kind of, but anyway, that's the really big sidebar to what I was going to say. I had my first big conversation with her, and we were on the phone for like an hour, and we were talking about everything from our interests and all that stuff. And she lives in Texas, near, I think it's somewhere near Austin, Texas, but not in Austin, Texas. But
So she's probably close to me.
but because of my interest in film, she had talked about if I wasn't interested in going out to LA because, you know, it's so busy out there and it's probably not my kind of place because I'm so reserved, but that Austin would be a good place for me to go. And I've been considering this for years and years, but the interesting thing about that is that I would, if I decided to go out there, I'd live close to her. I'd also live close to some family friends who also live near there, and I'd be close to you, Stephen, or, you know, closer.
That would be cool. If you were in Austin, you know,
Pretty awesome.
make a big effort to be there. I would. Austin
Well,
is
and I'm not far from Austin either.
yeah. Austin is probably 3.5 hours drive, and then Elora is probably an hour away from there, off to the side. But yeah, that would be awesome if we could. Hey, so we've been going for getting close to 2 hours, and you know how I get at the 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
So, like, guys, bring up anything in the chat. It's cool. This is just like we are careening our way through stream of consciousness stuff. So,
Yeah, I mean,
bring up something.
I mean, do you want to stop at 2 hours, or you can take?
I'm going to want to. Yes, it's just
you-
yeah. I start to get like. Ask anybody that knows me and has been around me. I don't sit still very well.
Runs in the family.
Yeah. Like I think it was Nessie was telling somebody like I'm full of nervous energy because at the we shared a Airbnb at Con of Thrones last year, and yeah, I'm not a sit still kind of person. So yeah, after 2 hours is about what I'm comfortable with. I mean, we keep it going, I guess, and I don't.
I'm good with 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sitting on my air mattress right now. My butt's getting a little sore.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to maybe I'll ask the chat because I had this idea because the whole idea here is that we're just doing kind of a bunch of different streams just to keep people busy, and we might not all be. We might not all be around at certain times when one of us is ready. Would any of you guys in the chat be interested if at certain points during this whole thing we're going through, if I wanted to start up a stream on my own channel
or here, John, you could host here too if you wanted, or you could host on your channel especially if you wanted to do something that's a little more like film focused.
Yeah, would any of you guys be interested in that, even if it wound up just being me? Because that would certainly be a new experience for me.
I would watch. I would be a guest if you wanted, but like I would just watch. I would show up and moderate the chat to make people be nice to each other.
Yeah, like a lot of things, I feel like the best thing for me would be to throw myself into things that I'm uncomfortable.
It works though. It works. Like that's been my journey in overcoming my social anxiety, is like going out there and doing the thing. And then people are like, oh, I really enjoyed that. And I'm like, did you say that? Or are you just being nice? And then like months later, people are still showing up week after week after week to watch whatever it is that we're doing. And we're chaotic in our approach to that. And we like it's no telling maybe from one week to the next what we're even going to be talking about. But people show up, which tells me, hey, maybe these people actually really like the stuff that we make. So
yeah. And actually, the idea of talking about certain films, that's interesting because I do want to progress to the point where I'm eventually doing some content about films for my own channel. And maybe this would be a great way to kickstart that, of doing some live streams, just talking about certain movies and things like that. Thank you, Pedro. That's very nice.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few people saying they come and watch.
Cool.
I mean, I'd really like to start my own channel, but I feel really nervous about it.
Yeah, and that's legit. Like when I started this, it was very, very sporadic. Like I made a couple of short videos where I just talked to a camera and I said, you can't even find them on the channel anymore. Sorry, y'all. But basically it was just a couple of minutes long and me saying like, hey, this is me trying to face my social anxiety and put myself out there a little bit more. And then like I went to a convention and I made friends and I grew my friend circle. And then I eventually got to a point where I was like, hey, this is the thing I really actually want to do. But even then it wasn't regular, but I still like just made a thing. And that a thing I made was actually with Sanrixian, which was the very first ever I Know That Nerd. And we sat down and we talked for a couple hours and we had a good time. And people kept coming back from that one and kept coming back when I did stuff that wasn't I Know That Nerd. So, or I Know That Nerds that weren't Sanrixian. So I know I had something to do with the success of it. And it was just really nice. But it's a thing you just have to start doing it,
Right.
And it's scary and like Yeah, I would say all you need though is a phone. You can talk to the camera on your phone, and it's got a microphone in it, and you can make whatever you want there. And like getting things like the microphone and the extra better camera and the what do you call it? The software that I use for streaming, that all came after I started.
Right.
I literally, the first videos I ever made were me talking to my cell phone.
I mean, you got to start somewhere. No, the only people who start from the top are well diggers.
Right? It's a good point. So I think the short answer, John, is I think a lot of us would really enjoy that. And I think the best idea is just go ahead and do it.
Cool.
So right after this stream, John's live streaming on his channel.
Yeah, no, I actually might do one this week after I get through with all this stuff with this damn tooth. I'll be so happy about that I'll that I'll want to go ahead and celebrate with the live stream.
What do you say we do this again in a couple of days?
I'd be absolutely all down for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely game for that.
And anybody who's here who wants to come on with us, hey, let me know. And
The more the merrier,
yeah,
to an extent.
because a lot of you guys are regulars that I see in the chat every week, but like many of you I've never met. Like I've never heard your voice. I've never seen you animated on my screen, and that would just be really, really cool. So like, and if you would like to come on and have a conversation, but don't want to live stream, well, at some other time we can arrange to have like just a Google Hangout type thing. We did that with some people from our online circle of my online friends. We just started a Google Hangout and talked for about 3 hours.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
John was there, Nessie was there, Sanrixian was there, Shar was there, Aaron M was there. So we just, like even now I'm feeling the need to be on camera and have something to talk about. But in a Google Hangout type situation, it's just just a bunch of friends. And Nessie, you're off for 2 days for the next 2 days, because maybe in 2 days on Thursday, we'll just do another one of these and you could be there for that one. That would be awesome.
But
So,
yeah. So you got any stuff you're going to be watching?
Okay. So I actually think what I'm going to do after I hang up here, first of all, I'm a big YouTube watcher, so I'm going to see if any of my like educational stuff has popped up on YouTube. I like to stay apprised of science news and stuff like that. But I'm actually thinking I might go ahead and try to watch Dark Crystal. at least one episode, and then I will figure out a way to let you know that I have in fact watched one full episode. And then I will tell you what music you have to listen to.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I'm torn to start you with Nightwish or Ginger. You know what I mean?
I say Nightwish.
Do you know both of those bands, Elora?
No, I think you showed me Nightwish though.
Yeah. Well, you can't choose if you don't know them both.
No, I'm going to choose anyways.
Ginger's
what
amazing.
I just had the most ridiculous thought of, and I'm being kind of tongue in cheek here, but how Shar does her music.
Oh, you do reaction video?
What if I did reaction videos no, not on those. Hell no. I'm already just having to listen to them for you. I'll just report back to you on that. But it wouldn't be like so me and so ridiculous if I did reaction videos on soundtrack albums.
That would be amazing.
I don't think anybody would watch them.
I'd watch it.
I bet some people would.
But Yeah, that would be something that would be like just sort of stereotypically me and
Very on brand.
on brand, as Nessie says.
Yeah, I've actually got an idea for something, an edited video. John, we'll talk about it after, but like I've got an idea for something I kind of want to do. Anyway, I digress. I would need the help of my video editing friend over there, but I've got an idea for something. Could probably put it together in a day or two.
Yeah, just move on it, and I've got the editing equipment. I just need something to work on. So.
Right on. So chat. Here's your chance to bring up anything else. I'm ready to go have my cigarette and to like move my head.
In my hand.
Yeah, to move my headspace. I just it's for my mental health. I can't sit here for too long. I get antsy.
Now, do you guys in the chat have any more questions you want to ask? I mean, fire away.
Right on. Hold on. Nessie's sending me some messages.
Ask me anything about my snobby film tastes.
So, John, number one movie that was not nominated for an Oscar. What movie got snubbed at the Oscars this year by not getting nominated?
At all? Like no nomination?
Well, I mean, like what should have maybe been nominated for Best Picture but wasn't, or what actor or actress should have been nominated but wasn't?
Okay, I'm not going to answer the what actress because you all already know the answer.
Yeah.
Movie. I'm trying to see. I've already left the Oscars behind in my mind, so I don't even remember what wasn't nominated. But I know that there were.
That's fine.
No. Hey, no. I'm going to answer this.
Oh,
you think I don't have lists up here?
Of course you do.
I've got I've got the Letterboxd app, so I have lists of my favorite films from the year and movies that weren't nominated and all that stuff. I am a total film geek. Of course, I have this right here. Again, I'm going to champion the film that a lot of people didn't see, which is Terrence Malick's A Hidden Life, which was not nominated for anything, not even cinematography, which was ridiculous. I think, you probably have to be a Terrence Malick fan to probably agree with me on that one because he's an acquired taste, but it was one of the most beautiful and thought-provoking films of the year. And it's different from some of his latest films from the past few years because a lot of his stuff lately has been sort of really stream of consciousness, just like a person living a life in America and taking a unique view at that. And I don't think his films have really had full-on plots since The New World, and that came out in 2005. And this one was different because it's about a German man who refuses to swear allegiance to Hitler during World War II, and what he goes through during that war and how they imprison him and all that. So it has an actual story, which makes it different from the director's past few films.
Right on.
But then also, if I can do a second one, obviously Booksmart. I think we're in agreement.
That movie was so good. I'm sorry. Yeah. And like not just funny and not just heartfelt like most comedies are, but like there was something, especially in the sound design of that movie, that really helped transport you into the headspace of those girls at different times, especially the highly emotional times. Like there's a point where they're screaming at each other's faces, but their voices are completely faded out. You can't hear them at all. You just hear this almost high-pitched, because it's a surreal moment to see two people who are such good friends screaming at each other. It's actually really good movie.
Yeah, and the whole thing with female directors not being nominated, sometimes I'm not in complete agreement with the way the Academy is taken to task for that because, you know, they vote for their 5 favorite film directors of the year.
Right.
Fortunately, sometimes it just works out that way. It's not like there's some grand conspiracy that they all get together and they say we're going to cut out the women directors from the list of nominees.
Yeah, that's not what happens, but there is a subconscious thing.
But that said, this year, I mean, I think it's inexcusable that both Greta Gerwig and Olivia Wilde were not nominated for Best Director. And at least Greta got close, but Olivia Wilde wasn't that much in the conversation
Right.
for Best Director, which I think is a shame because I think Booksmart was one of the very best films of the year, and it was her first film, her directorial debut, and I thought she just knocked it out of the park. She did a great job.
Right. I agree. It was one of the best movies I saw last year.
Yeah.
Guys, that's 2 hours. That's about all I got in me today. But I tell you what we're going to do. Thursday afternoon, maybe about the same time, we'll just do this whole thing again, and we'll talk about something else.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll actually have a little bit of a topic. Who knows? This was very last minute. This was like Elora called me a couple hours ago, and she said, "Hey, I want to stream," and I said, "Okay." And so here we are.
It was funny because I asked you about it, and you said, "I'm going to set one up for this afternoon." I'm like, "Oh, cool!" And you said, "I'm going to set it up for 4:30," and it was like 3:00. I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm gonna have an early dinner then."
Yep, I already ate too. I'm actually still full. Mom made some really great chicken vegetable soup. Good stuff.
I just got notified that my dinner's ready, so I haven't eaten yet, so I'm gonna go eat.
All right. Well, sweetie, it's always nice to see you. And if you want to come back in a couple of days, that's fine. You can meet Nessie because Nessie was in the chat earlier, and she said that she's probably going to be available Thursday. So it's 5:30. It's 5:30 my time now. We started at 3:30. I'm going to start at the same time on Thursday. Just actually, maybe we need to go earlier because In Deep Geek starts his stream 30 minutes after that.
I'd be okay with doing it a little earlier.
Yeah, we're going to have to because, like, I'm not even trying to compete with Robert, y'all. I'm just not. Our 550 subscribers versus his, how many does Robert have? Hundreds, over 100,000. Now you got me. Now I'm curious. But anyway, yeah, I'm not trying to compete with that. You know what I mean?
No, it's that you don't want to steal away his view.
Yeah, that's it. I don't want to cripple his viewership.
You want to do 2:30 on Thursday?
Or 2:00. That way we'll be done about the time he's starting if we go for 2 hours.
Yep.
130. He's got 135,000 subscribers. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can't count that high.
But anyway, you are right about that, Paydar. Quality, not quantity. But I have nothing but respect for Robert over there on Indie Geek as well. He's he is a top-notch human being. I've met him in person at a convention, and he was so warm and genuine, and nothing but respect for the man. So, like, go watch you hang out here for a couple hours, and then when we're done here, go hang out over there.
Yeah, I just want to say something before we go. Thank you guys all for stopping by because, you know, I'm with Steven. I didn't think we'd get but a couple people, and, you know, it's great to have you all here. You know, hopefully we can give you guys a little distraction for a couple hours. I know we had a blast doing this.
Yeah. Paydar, you might actually like a lot of Indie Geek stuff. He's very, very good. And he lives on your side of the pond. He's English, but don't hold that against him. All right, guys. Well, that's it for me. And again, and I'm going to echo John's sentiment. Thank you all for coming, and we'll do this we'll do this again in a couple of days. All right. So
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sweetie. Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Laura.
And you know what it is. Until next time, peace and be excellent to each other.